Welcome to Everything But the Kitchen Dink, the podcast where we discuss all things pickleball with your hosts, Rob and Andy.
And welcome back to Everything But the Kitchen Dink.
Welcome back. Now, really welcome back this time.
Yes, welcome back. It's been it's been interesting. There's just so much to discuss.
Honestly, I
don't know where to start, to be honest.
I felt like, you know, when you're playing pickleball on a Tuesday, and the whole day you're just thinking, it doesn't matter whether you're at work or whatever you do. That's what I've been feeling today.
Then after you played, you're saying, God, that was awful.
Well, I'll get into that. But basically,
we're back from the States.
I do apologise for the missing episodes, for the missing weeks, because I didn't realise, as a complete novice at episode 80, which we are at now.
Yes.
I didn't realise how hard it would be to edit podcasts without taking the proper equipment with me.
Well, it helps if you take your laptop with you.
Yeah, but I didn't want to, because
you're on holiday.
Listen,
don't worry about it.
I was burnt out.
The listeners, we made them wait.
I was burnt out. I needed a break. I didn't bring my laptop.
They'll be excited for this. They'll be excited for this.
So, yeah. So we are full steam ahead. I mean, that is an understatement. We've got a great episode today.
And we've got a lot of stuff,
we'll tell you all about what's coming up in the future as well. But we're back. I've been back 5 days. You've been back, about a week now?
Feels like I've never been away.
I know, it really does.
Like, you get back into your routine and it's like, did I go on holiday?
Yeah, I'm back into my routine of waking up 12 times in the night. We had an amazing time. We really did. And you know what? We learned so much, which we'll get into.
Where do we start then?
I know, it's difficult. I got there. I mean, I've been away a month. And basically, the family were there, but I was there for pickleball.
You were playing every morning, really, before I got there.
Yeah, so I got there, 6 days before you?
Yes, and you're lucky because you've got a friend that lives over there that you sort of grew up with that had organised some games for you against some high-level players, which was fantastic because obviously, it's ready for you when you get there. But
I was just killing time until you arrived. I was counting the days. I mean, it's pretty much like any day here. I'm counting the minutes until I see you.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. It's great being in America. I love America. I've been going for 30 years.
You know what?
Great.
I have to say that,
apart from the mother-in-law being there,
the driving over there, I just need to say, because I seem to fit in perfectly. I must drive like an absolute lunatic. That's all I can say, because the Americans, I've never seen anything like it.
I don't have experience outside of Florida with driving, but I don't.
There's no prisoners taken.
No, I hated it at first because we're so nice in England.
I love it.
We let everybody go.
Yeah.
Everybody waves at everybody. Oh, thank you so much.
This is like they just cut in, and if you don't let them go, they're just going to hit you.
No one lets you go. No one uses indicators.
No.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, and they weave in and out of space.
At 70 miles an hour, they're weaving in and out.
It's mental,
but
honestly.
Then I got used to it, and I thought, well, you know what? I don't need to. I can just indicate and go in. I don't need to wait.
Yeah, just do what they do.
Yeah,
and that's what I do.
And amazingly, I never saw any accidents because I probably saw 1,000 near misses.
Yeah.
the drivers there are unbelievable.
Yeah, they are. It's like wacky races almost.
If anybody wants to tell me if it's just Florida, but they are. Yeah, you're right.
It is like anything goes.
Yeah.
It's like every man for himself out there.
I mean, the amount of times you see a car go across 4 lanes, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And they're undertaking, overtaking.
Yeah. I mean, they allow undertaking now, which is, I like that. But...
And the crazy thing is, like, we were there when the weather was quite ropey most days. Like, when I say ropey, you get torrential rain.
Yeah.
But the driving, it doesn't affect the driving. They're still going 70 miles an hour, even though they can't see.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, the weather was great.
Yeah.
But you can get an hour a day of torrential rain.
Mental.
And you can barely see out your windscreen.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable.
Exactly. But anyway,
but
the other thing is the traffic lights there. Oh, my God.
You could grow old at those traffic lights.
I think I did grow a beard at one point.
Yeah. Oh, they're horrendous. Imagine... we were just saying, actually, a few weeks ago, temporary traffic lights. I mean, No one has come up with a way of getting the timing right on temporary traffic lights.
No, they haven't.
It feels like you're there. And this is
we've got some here at the moment, and they're a nightmare. You sit there for ages.
Every single traffic light in America is like a temporary traffic light.
It is.
It's a good 5 minutes.
Yeah. The actual to get places isn't far. It's just the lights.
Yeah. If you're turning left.
Yeah, you're knackered. Yeah, turning right's great. Though.
Oh, the right on red is.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It is.
It is.
It really is.
Anyway, that's all gripes about.
But yeah, so we got there. I think I got there on a Thursday, and I don't think I didn't want to play straight away. Obviously, that you're waking up at 3 a.m. So I think my first game.
Need a few days to
my first game was Monday.
Okay.
So I think it was just like I said, it was just killing time. But I immediately when I got there and I played my first game, I realised I cannot wait for Robert to see this.
Right. Why? What was the?
It's just I must have forgotten. It's so vastly different, and like you said, I'm very lucky. I know people there who can give us high level games and much higher level than we can get here on a regular basis.
Yeah,
you can just turn up.
I know
at courts. It's just amazing. Not only that, but I was a guest at a club as well, 3 or 4 times. I think you played at that club as well. But we'll get into that anyway. The biggest takeaway from this whole thing, and I have to give America a standing ovation, because if you've listened to previous podcasts, you'll realize one of my greatest bugbears, before we get onto the pickleball, is when you get your drink and it's got lemon in it. When you get your Diet Coke,
you hate that,
and it's got a lemon in it. And I have to say,
what, lemon on the side?
Every time I ordered Diet Coke, or people at the table ordered soft drinks, they bring a plate of sliced lemon.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's the way it should be, because you don't know if the person wants lemon in or not. So, I agree with that.
America. I am sick to death.
Can I just say, hats off to America for the food anyway, because I have never eaten so much.
Yeah, they've really got it right.
Yeah, the portions are just crazy.
I've not had, it's so long since I've had to pick out a piece of lemon with my hands. It's just amazing. But
you and your lemons.
You're right.
The food there is just incredible, and you can share. Like you don't need to order a portion each.
I'm not sharing.
Sharing is caring. Well, let's get on to the pickleball.
All right, fine. Okay.
So I arrived, and the jet lag's a bugger for a few days, but then
you arrived and then came to me the next day, didn't you?
Yeah, and then where did we play the first time? So.
Right. Let me give you a backstory.
Go on.
Let me refresh your memory.
Go
right. On. Okay. So I played a few times, and a good friend of mine, I was lucky enough. I would say he's a 4.5.
Yeah.
And he has moved to Boca Raton, which is where we were a couple of years ago, and has built this fantastic group of top players of 4.5 and above. So I played last year. I played these 2 ladies who are just brilliant players, and we actually interviewed them. And coming up soon, we're going to give you an insight into their story. Yeah. So I played them before you arrived, and they are phenomenal players. I mean, if we had them at our club, we would be better players. They made us better players playing them. Now, unfortunately for you, your first experience
was against
them. Now, it was just the 2 of us, and it was really hard adjusting.
Can I just
it's like playing football on the beaches.
It's completely different.
And then playing on a lush football pitch. That's the difference between playing in the UK and playing in America.
Yeah, but
it's that drastic.
I've come home and I've said to people, it's a completely different game in America, and they've said, "Why? What's the difference?" And I've really, really struggled to sort of answer that.
It is hard in the same way where, although you had a taster a couple of years out there, a couple of years ago, it wasn't the same kind of thing. It's come on so much.
But the things that
I've tried to explain to you, but until you went and experienced it, it almost hit you like a brick wall.
Well, it did, because obviously I was a few days into the holiday. I turned up. It was probably 7 o'clock in the morning. The heat is about 80. It's very humid, about 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Although the sun's not out at that point. Okay, so you've got the heat factor first of all.
Well, just on that.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the humidity because obviously living in England, we don't have an issue with it. However, at one point, I found while I was on court, I found the humidity. Somebody asked Siri, and it was 87%.
Right. Okay.
Now,
well, that gives
again,
you an
I don't
idea.
really understand humidity, but basically that is really,
it saps
really
your
tough.
energy, basically.
And I've heard people for years say, "Oh, it's hot," but they've been to Arizona or wherever, and it's hot, but it's not the same kind of humidity. And I never really understood it. But I think it's something to do with the air, and it's a lot harder to play in that kind of humidity.
It really is, especially when you're not used to it. Now, obviously, these girls and the players out there, they're used to it. They play there every day in this heat. So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was how beautiful the courts were.
Yeah.
I mean, these courts were just stunning. Also, I noticed it was packed at 7 o'clock in the morning.
It was funny.
It's unbelievable. It was like
yeah,
people were just there already warming up before we even got there.
These courts, you have to understand that these courts were in Delray. They were public courts, so you just turn up and play. But when I was there last year, the courts were empty.
Right.
So we played at, I think it was 7 or 7:30 in the morning for an hour and a half, and these courts were empty the whole time.
Right.
This year you go at 7 o'clock
and the full. Yeah, the full. And then you're putting your paddles in a racking system to play.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's just incredible to see. So that was the next thing I noticed. The third thing was, I mentioned how beautiful the courts were. Obviously, we don't have these courts in the UK. They're proper pickleball courts.
It's not so much the beautiful courts. They're courts.
They're courts, yeah. We're playing on...
any real court to us is beautiful.
Yeah. So just to look at these courts was a pleasure. Third, or maybe fourth thing, I don't know where I'm up to, but the net. I looked at the net and I thought, hang on a minute, that net is higher than the nets that we use.
This was a big one for you.
Now, it wasn't the net was higher. It was that we don't put the nets up properly at home.
Also, our nets are portable and
they do sag a bit, where this is constant all the way across. So that was another thing that I noticed from straight off. I'm just trying to think.
It got in your head a bit, didn't it?
No, I mean, it didn't get in my head. But then obviously you start playing and you're playing 2 4.5, I'd say, plus players, because these two ladies, they're in the 30s and they're just incredible. Every shot is a shot with purpose. It's not a dead dink.
Yeah.
It's not a third shot drop that just bounces. It's a third shot drop with top spin.
Yeah.
And everything is perfectly accurate. And they... I spoke to them afterwards, and you'll hear this.
Was this when were you still crying at this point?
I was probably still crying. It was a shock. I'm not. It's very different. It's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, by the third day, I was well into it, but
yeah,
it was a lot.
In hindsight,
it was a lot.
It was tough. I mean, I wanted you to experience that, but when you throw everything in the mix, we got pickled a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think we only played 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, that was all.
I think the best we did was 4 points.
I don't think I've ever sweated as much in my life and drunk so much in my life. But they were lovely girls, and they go and drill 3 times a week. They can just turn up at the courts for an hour and they can drill. So it's to be expected. As the holiday progressed, things got a lot better. Yeah. We started to win and give them decent games.
I have to say, there was an element of talking you round after that. I think you were ready to stop playing.
Well, I was ready to go indoor.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to stop playing. I was ready to go indoor because of the elements, which actually hindered us quite a bit in the end. We got rained off.
We did have a day when we were rained off.
We were literally squeegeeing the courts. You've got videos of me pushing water off the end of the court.
Actually, I mean, there is a lot of rain there. So we did get lucky for all the times we played. Yeah. It was only once. And we were 6-4 up at the time against the girls.
Yeah.
So I am taking that as a win.
When you're getting up at 6 a.m. on holiday to go and play, and then you get rained off. I mean, we went for a coffee after, but it was really disappointing. But this is what you've got to put with. You've got wind, you've got heat, you've got rain.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't suffer with the wind. I mean,
it wasn't too bad.
Maybe from a food point of view, but not on pickleball court.
But when you go home and people say, how is it so different? You need to experience it for yourself. I can't explain it until you go. And once you get it, and you figure it out, it's an amazing experience.
The answer is, how is it different? It's pickleball. That's the difference.
It's pickleball.
And what we're playing is not pickleball.
No, I mean the game.
It's pickleball
here,
as we know it.
Yeah,
but it's not pickleball.
The game here now is I've played about 3 or 4 times since I got back, and I don't think any rallies have gone past 3 or 4 shots. Whereas in America, you can dink for a good 5 or 6 shots.
Well, that was the other thing you noticed on the first game, and obviously carried on. Is the fact that when I first started playing before you arrived, I was going for my shots. Now here we tend to go for our shots because we're worried someone else is going to go for our shots. Yeah. And we've said many times that in tournaments here there is very little dinking. Now I found immediately all they wanted to do was dink. It was all about patience and wearing you down. Yeah. And we can't play that kind of game. No. I think we've learned over the games we've played.
We're just not used to playing that game.
But it really taught us,
and that's the game I want to play.
With a real
I love that game.
It really taught us that patience is the key.
But even when we did get into dinking with them, their dinks were dinks with purpose. They were top spin dinks.
Yeah, everything was a tactic.
It was amazing to see.
It was like that because they've had a couple of years to work on it, and
Absolutely.
And when they go out, they work on particular shots, and they can go for an hour. Yeah. Now, if I said to you, "Do you want to get up at 6:30 and go for a run tomorrow morning?" What would you say to me? We're on air.
Oh right, okay. I'd say no, thanks, Andy.
Yeah, I know
I'm
what
washing
you'd
my
say.
hair.
But how satisfying was it getting up at 6 and 6:30?
Yeah, but it's different because you're getting up. You're in your shorts. The weather's nice.
Although
it's
dark.
hot,
I'm driving to the courts and it's dark.
I know, but I was so excited.
I know.
Yeah.
And then I felt so invigorated for the rest of the day. And I'm thinking, when I come back and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm going to be exhausted.
The thing is,
how am I going to get through the day? But I did.
You did.
It was amazing. It was such an amazing feeling.
And the beautiful thing is, you can do that every day in America. You can do that every morning. And then you can go back at night and play again, or in the afternoon.
I know.
It's just, why don't we throw in the interview? Let's listen to this.
Right, okay. Listen to this. And then, we'll come back. It's inspiring. And I'll tell you why afterwards. We are in the freezing cold of 82 degrees at 8 in the morning here in Delray Beach. We have Sammy and Heather, 2 amazing players on a very similar journey to us, except much better and more successful. I met you last year. You were good then. You're amazing now. You schooled us the other night. You nearly put Robert into retirement. But tell us how it all began and your journey. How long have you been playing? 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years. Started, Heather's mom had introduced us to the sport 2 years ago. We were like, pickleball. Seems like fun. Like,
never
what is this
even
sport?
heard of it.
Yeah.
Never even heard
so we
of
got
it.
out there and it was a load of fun, and it's a funny sport because you can play with anybody, any age, and you think you're a stud, and then you play these you play some older people that are a lot better than you, and you're put in your place, and you're like, all right, I'm not as good as I was. So over the last couple of years, we really put in some work and played in tournaments and realized that there's some things we need to work on. So that's where we are now.
Okay, we're back here. We got interrupted because we're playing on a what do you call it?
Public court.
Yeah, public court. So you have to put your paddles in. And when I came here last year, nobody was here at this time, and now it's full.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You've got to put your paddles in the right way. And anyway, so
People get very upset, when not like this.
I'm a little bit more exhausted now. All I can see is blood. It's 82 degrees still. It's freezing. But basically, what I love about you two is you're very similar. Your trajectory is very similar to our career.
Squirrels.
There's everything here.
Hi, squirrel.
Squirrel does a great drop.
That's Sam's attention.
Your career is so much like ours that you started from nothing. We've been saying on the podcast for so long that non-tennis player background cannot get to that level, but you've shown that you can. Because you're not from a racket background, are you? Either of you. So how do you get from where you started, not being a tennis player, to you're playing out there like tennis players, and you've given us such great confidence to be able to get
especially
to
like your drives and things like that. If you don't have a tennis drive, like how do you learn that tennis drive?
and your top spin?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I played a little bit of tennis, but just for fun, nothing competitively or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really just drilling for both of us.
Yeah.
I think, and just kind of mastering technique and starting with the basics.
Yeah. And how often are you drilling then a week?
Right now, we're like probably 2 to 3 times a week.
Really?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
For an hour or 2 hours?
At least an hour.
At least
and
an
a
hour.
half,
Okay.
yeah.
We try to pick like 4 things that we want to focus on, so it's
Okay.
not too much.
Always warming up, dinks drives. So we're dinks, drops, and drives. So that's always being worked on. And then specific drills that when we play higher level players, we're like, that's what we lacked. How can we get better to compete with those players?
Yeah.
So we do those kind of drills.
You've got a particular strategy every time you drill, and you're drilling 2 or 3 times a week. How often are you playing? Are you on the court pretty much most days of the week?
I would say now
Yeah.
we are, yeah. We took a little break over the summer,
Okay.
Yeah.
but now, we're back in it, just preparing for some tournaments that we're playing in.
Okay.
And
So-
a lot of people would tell you, like, don't watch videos, but there are so many quality pickleball videos online that have drilling ideas. Or for me, I had no tennis background, so learning topspin on a forehand was difficult.
Yeah.
And there were some really good videos that showed me how to slowly work on that. And it worked. It's still a work in progress, but it's better than
It's amazing.
it was.
You topspin, both of you, like you've been playing tennis your whole lives. How do you go from no topspin? How long did that take to get that topspin feel? Because you're not only topspin, but two-handed, backhand as well. How long did that take?
I mean, it's a work in progress. I would say it
You're
probably,
very
for
modest.
me, for me, it probably took to get to where I am now. It did take about a year of work. Like
Okay.
it's never, and it's still not where I would love it to be.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I also think I should never miss, but that's not true. That's not
We all
the
think
case.
that. We all think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
But the competitiveness in me is like I should never miss this shot, so I'm going to work hard to make sure I can. But
And how has your pickleball mindset been over this period? Because in the same period for us, we have given up so many times and gone back and gone away. We've had to talk each other around. How's it been for you, especially like being a partnership? How does that work? Have you had moments where you just wanted to throw it all away?
Oh yeah.
Or you've been much stronger than we have?
No.
it's more when we get to tournaments, there's like a whole nother mindset. Both of us played college sports, so that competitiveness has come into pickleball, and that's why we like training for tournaments, because that fulfills that competitiveness from college athletics. There have definitely been times playing rec where we're just so frustrated with each other or each other's play or ourselves playing that we're like, all right, we just got to be done today because this is not going to end well for anybody.
Yeah.
Somebody might get hurt. Paddle might get hurt.
Yeah.
When it becomes not fun, we have to take.
Yeah.
We have to take a break, even
Yeah.
if it's like for a week, a couple days, just to kind
take
of
a break.
reset your mental state.
Yeah.
Wait, it's supposed to be fun?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah. And when it starts to not be fun is when we're like, all right, we need a break.
Yeah.
And luckily we live in Delray Beach, so
Yeah.
the beach is right there. So we're
Okay.
like,
So
you know
you've
what?
got the best of both
Yeah,
worlds,
yeah.
definitely.
So tell us about your tournament history, because I think when I saw you last year, I think you maybe had only just started that tournament route. So how's that been? You won a big one recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I think when we last year, we were probably just starting our 4-0 tournaments, I think. So our goal was to win a couple 4-0s before we decided to make the jump to the next level.
Okay.
Some people will just dive right in, but for us, it's a process.
Yeah.
So we had won a couple 4-0s, gone out to California and played at a 4-5 tournament. I think we were telling you guys that we had just signed up to go to Sonoma for a tournament.
Yeah.
We're like, it's traveling and it's pickleball and
Amazing.
wine. Like, what more?
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
So that's California.
Yeah.
So that is quite a trip.
Yeah, yeah, but it was fun. We did well. We didn't win, but that was the beginning. And now we worked pretty much a couple months, and we were able to win a golden ticket in APP Miami.
So
Wow.
what's the golden ticket?
Early registration
Is
to
that to the chocolate
national.
factory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Willy Wonka's, Willy Wonka's, yeah.
Willy Wonka.
That has more value than what it's going to get us for the tournament.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
We had this big dream, like, oh, we got to pay birth into the tournament.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a
Just
very expensive
honor,
birth.
and you can go register early. Great.
so was that your first tournament win?
No.
No.
At no. It was our first 4-5 that we came in first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how did that feel like?
Good.
Really?
Yeah,
You
good.
go
We surprised. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't. I think we expected the competition to be a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just that tournament.
Maybe you were just really good.
So
I
what's
don't know.
what's next then? What's the
We're
next
gonna go
stage
to
from there?
we're gonna go to nationals, but we're gonna play actually in a tournament in Virginia Beach. I have family in Virginia Beach, so we're gonna drive
That's
up
Florida.
there. Huh?
Is that Florida?
No, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Oh, okay. So you'll travel quite a way.
Yeah.
And are you looking at more and more tournaments? Or
They're expensive.
They are.
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, it's the travelling, the entry fee. It's expensive.
so
Yeah.
what are you looking at? A few thousand just to go for both
So
of you?
nationals is one of the most expensive tournaments we've ever. It's $250, and so it ends up being $310 all in per person.
Wow.
And then you got to
Just
get
to
flights
register.
just to register.
Wow. That's expensive.
And that's just for one event.
Yeah.
So if you play mixed as well.
Exactly.
You're up to like
Yeah.
$400.
Wow.
That's
per-
crazy.
Yeah, and plus you're travelling and everything.
Yeah. So then flights,
Yeah.
Yeah.
rental
It's
car,
expensive. Yeah.
housing. So it is expensive.
We try to like make it also a
A
trip.
holiday. Yeah, vacation.
Because then
yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're paying all this money to go play for what reason?
Yeah.
There's really
Well,
not
at least
one.
if you lose, you might get something good out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somewhere we haven't been before or whatever. But
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of trips, I've convinced you to come to the English Open.
absolutely.
Oh, can't wait. That'll be amazing.
So you're currently playing at 4.5, but you want to get to the 5.0
Yeah.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Definitely when I get to
That's our
5.0. Yeah. Beyond, it's a tall order with how the game is progressing. A lot of kids coming out of college, tennis players.
Are you finding that the game's getting quicker?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, more bangy than the dinking, or
They're just
And more controlled.
More controlled banging.
Speed,
Yeah.
I would say.
right? Okay.
Definitely controlled
It
chaos.
was interesting what you were telling me the other day that in England we think the game is getting faster. There's a lot more driving
Yeah.
and a lot less thinking. But
Hardly anything
you
thinking.
mentioned to me that people are scared to speed up here because they'll just get putaways.
Yeah, I would say the higher level you get, you do see more dinking, obviously longer points, but overall, I think it is getting faster.
Right.
Yeah, people are definitely speeding up earlier in the points.
for sure. And that's where when the tennis people come in, they have more control, they can kind of misdirect it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the higher you get, I think, more control, more kitchen play, but it's still faster than I think it had been historically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks so much for.
Yeah, thank you for playing with us. Yeah.
We're dripping here from head to toe, and you're like, you've just got out of bed.
I'm not going on camera.
I really can't wait to come to the UK. I've never been.
We're
so
really
very
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
well,
be a fun.
yeah.
It's
It'll be a
be
fun
amazing,
experience.
yeah.
Again, another vacation to go.
Yeah.
play pickleball.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bring your umbrellas.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
bringing a poncho. I'll just play in a poncho outside.
Yeah.
But it's great for me, having met you last year, to see your career grow, and really looking forward to seeing where you're going as well. So,
The big question is, has Andy improved from last year?
He
He
has.
has.
Yeah.
I think everybody has.
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting
Even
because
Ross.
you wiped the floor with us last week. We got pickled a couple of times.
Yeah.
We were happy when we lost the 11-4, but we came to learn here, and you have taught us so much, because today we have been so much more patient, and the one skill that we can take home, whether the game is different or not, is the patience, and you've taught us more than you realise.
Good.
So we appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And then you
Thank
can
you.
teach us some stuff about the UK next year.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. See you soon.
Till
All
next
right.
time.
Right, so that was Sammy and Heather, who have also, I think that a lot of people use the word inspiring, and
You really are inspired by them.
I really am. And the reason is because we've talked so much about tennis backgrounds, and we've been disappointed. And, they should inspire everybody who hasn't got a high level tennis background. That yes, it can be done.
It can be done.
They have done it. They have achieved it.
But
And they would be very humble in saying they haven't
Andy,
achieved it yet.
there's a big but here, and it ain't yours.
And you cannot lie.
You have to do what they've done and dedicate and drill.
Yes.
I mean, they are drilling three times a
They
week.
are an inspiration.
They
They have
are.
inspired us both. First of all, from a patience point of view.
Yeah.
But they have shown us the myth. We've talked about it so much recently about if you are not a high level tennis player, you cannot get to the top level. Well, I'm sorry, but you can, and they have shown that. And I hope they inspire everybody who has felt like us that you can't get to that height. We almost decided before we went away that you cannot reach that level. That's what we decided, and now that has changed. So I hope everybody else is inspired in the same way.
Yeah, I hope you got a lot out of that interview. And also, as you said earlier, patience. We learned that now I think patience there is different to patience here, because as we've discussed earlier, the game's so different. You can be patient there because you know that they're gonna dink back.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you do a dink, and then it gets attacked against you. So sometimes it's hard to be patient because the ball's coming at you, and then
where it's the opposite.
Yeah. So correct. So if you're trying to be patient here, it's very hard. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think the problem we had is they were so good at. They would have dinked all day until we hit the poor shot.
Correct.
But we're impatient because we know we can't dink with them.
Well, we know also that it's going to get sped up against us very quickly.
Yeah.
So then you, in turn, try and end the rally quick. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really difficult.
But high level players there, and I'm not talking professionals. I've spoken to people, and the girls also told me that people are scared. Men are scared to speed up there because they know it's coming back at them.
Yeah.
So it really is an amazing game out there, and I feel that our dinking and our patience did get better.
Absolutely, I think
when we played them again,
yeah,
we always lost. I think we won one game.
We
won one game. I think we were 10-7 down, and maybe they felt sorry for us. But generally, when we lost, and even when I played with my friend against them when you left or beforehand, we generally lost to 7 or 8.
Yeah,
which is an achievement.
He's a very good player as well.
But their level of consistency, and I'm glad we interviewed them, and I'm glad we had the experience, and I really look forward to them coming over for the English Open because they can gold.
Yeah, I think they could.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, we'll be coaching them.
Yeah. then it won't be gold.
Yeah. I mean, there were certain players there that weren't as friendly as
I think they were so, even after the first time, I thought they're never going to want to wait. Who's going to want to get up at 6 a.m. to play us? And we never gave them any games in the first meeting, did we?
No.
But yet they were so patient, and it was no problem, and they were happy to help us, and that was so refreshing as well. But we saw the ugly side, didn't we?
A bit. Where people just walked across your court and
people were rude.
Yeah.
But
you get that everywhere.
When it got busy and it got to the wrecking. So you had to most of the time we played, you finish your game, you swap ends, you carry on.
Yeah.
But occasionally at that time of the morning it got busy, and when the courts are full you have to come off. You put your paddles in a racking system, and then
it moves down.
Down, and then you get on. And we didn't have to wait long.
No.
But the second the court's empty, everyone's screaming, "Get on!
Yeah, court open,
court open! Come on, relax." It's like when you're going back to the traffic lights. I don't know if you noticed, but if you're at the front, the second it changes to green,
the beeping. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
No one has any patience there
because everyone's desperate
unless they're on the court. Then we're the ones without patience.
You're right.
So just what were your actual feelings once you settled in? What were your feelings?
My feelings were
when you were
if
playing?
I played in America for 6 months, it would make me a much better player. I feel that in the UK, especially in the north, we struggle to get that level of play. And if I could play against these girls 3 times a week, or players of that caliber, and just being able to go and drill without having to find a court that's available, and just being able to turn up for an hour and, do some drilling, it would make you such a much better player. So, they're very lucky over there. We're not there yet here. We've got a long way to go.
I mean, we didn't just play the girls either. We played other players, and we had good
Great
games,
yeah.
and they were more our level, and they went both ways, you know, wins and losses. And that was at a private club that was something like, it's $400 a year. It's a tennis club.
But it has, was it 6 pickleball courts or something?
No, it had 9 pickleball courts, or it could have even, I think it had 12 actually.
Wow.
But they're actually building 18 more.
I know.
And those are going to be covered, because by the time it got to 9 o'clock now, it was really hot.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realise they were going to be covered. So that'll be a great place to play.
But also they've got floodlights as well. So people play
I need to get back.
And, you know, it was just so great.
Yeah.
And I think before a lot of indoor places opened, a lot of professionals used to go to that place, because a lot of professionals are in and around. Yeah, she's been there. Yeah.
It's a great facility. And they're just very lucky, because wherever you stay in Florida, I don't know for other parts of America, but I'm sure it's quite the same. You're not far from pickleball courts.
You're never going to be far.
You're never going to be far.
And a lot of developments, housing developments, will have pickleball as well.
Yeah. So if you can get the chance to go and do it, I think we should plan a trip, like a club trip.
A club trip.
Yeah. Yeah. How cool will that be?
Okay. I mean, they do have weather challenges, but like you say, if you're there and you've got bad weather, you can just play later that night.
Correct.
Or, you know, your next session is never that far away. But one thing I did notice, and I don't know if you noticed, I didn't wear my protective glasses out there.
Yeah. Well, I got the ball smacked in my face. Do you remember? Yeah. Properly smacked in my face. My glasses went flying.
Yes, I do.
Do you remember?
But you wear
luckily,
glasses
I wear
anyway.
glasses. I was lucky. Yeah. But if I didn't, that would have been.
Yeah. But generally, the game is a lot slower. It's not a banging game.
No.
So
till I got hit in the eye.
I didn't feel the need to wear my glasses at all.
Don't get me wrong. There are players over there that do like to bang the ball. There are tennis players that hit it very hard. So, you know, I would still recommend wearing glasses wherever.
Yeah, I think I will go back to them, but I just felt that, you know, I didn't need to wear them there.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was, I never saw anybody else. I never saw one person the whole time wearing glasses.
Yeah,
which is interesting. Yeah,
really is.
But yeah,
it's sad, isn't it?
It is. So I felt like so happy and warm. Well, very hot to be there.
Yeah,
but it had this tinge of sadness
about coming home.
Just because, not necessarily coming home, but just because it was short-lived. I knew it was short-lived. I knew it almost like it was a dream I was going to wake up from.
I thought I had in my head I was going to play like every day. I think I only played 4 times while I was there in 3 weeks.
Right.
Or maybe 5 with the indoor.
But you probably only had 8 days. Yeah, you probably only had 8 days before we went on the cruise.
True. Anyway, let's move on to the cruise because that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, this was.
Because believe it or not, there was pickleball on the cruise.
There was pickleball. We didn't know what to expect. And I don't know if anyone out there has been on a cruise. I'd like to hear everybody's cruise experiences with pickleball, because ours wasn't really that good.
No, now I've been on Royal Caribbean before, and I think that is more of a pickleball ship.
Yeah,
I think
you think they've embraced it.
Yeah, and I think people go on that ship knowing that
that's
got pickleball, because when I went on that ship, they were queuing, whereas this one it was about 10 people there, wasn't there? And not really a great standard.
No,
so we won gold.
We won gold. We put the picture on Facebook. Everybody thinks we won a great tournament, but between you and me,
it wasn't great.
It was a hollow gold. It was probably, you said to me at some point, it was a 2.5 tournament.
Yeah.
I think we pickled a few people. The first game...
Well, we didn't even try, did we, to be fair? But
no, we didn't.
Well,
the court was half size.
Yeah, it is what it is. It was on the ship. It was boiling hot.
Yeah, it was. It was baking 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, they put it at the most hottest time of day.
They didn't care.
No.
And that was a bit disappointing. And when we turned up with our own paddles... The other people that were there thought, here they are.
Yeah. They were right.
They were right. But it's, to be fair, we expected a better experience on Carnival.
Yes.
And it was a bit disappointing.
It was. But at least we got to play on the ship.
That medal is not going on my medal rack.
It's on mine.
It's on my secondary medal rack with my silver medal.
Well, just going back to the cruise, The upside was the food was amazing. I mean, it's just, if you've never done a cruise, you come back with at least a stone heavier.
I think I'm traumatized. I don't know whether playing the amount of pickleball we did in general, I don't know whether that helped with our weight.
Didn't help me. I put weight on, and I don't put weight on.
So I didn't put any weight on.
Yeah, good one.
Well, if you don't weigh yourself, you've not put any weight on. But it was good. I had this constant feeling of indigestion and alcohol poisoning all rolled into one.
We were drinking a lot.
It was just like a constant pain when I went to bed at night, and then just start again the next day.
Are we telling the listeners about our experience or not?
Do you know, I never even put that in the notes. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Are we going to tell them about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a near-death experience.
Yeah, we did have a near-death experience, yeah.
I've never been so scared in all my life. Go on, you start off.
Okay, so generally we went to bed around 11, 12 o'clock, something like that. I think as you go on and the food comas come in, you go to bed a bit earlier.
Yeah.
1:30 we wake up to an alarm going.
In everybody's room, literally.
Yeah. First thing you think is you go to the phone, you think it's the phone.
I didn't. It was
I put my head outside the door and somebody's running down saying someone's fallen overboard.
Yeah.
The alarm's still going. There's nothing over the PA.
Now, at this point, I looked on the balcony, and
I did.
It was pitch black, and the horn was going, and I thought, "Oh my God, we're going down. This is it. This is it. My pickleball career's over."
Yeah.
This is
so
it.
Our rooms, I never saw you through this whole experience.
No, because you were on the other side.
So my kids were in the room.
You were below deck, doing a tap dance.
So one of my daughters comes in and says, "Get the passports."
I wouldn't have thought of that.
I didn't say this at the time, but I'm thinking, get my paddles.
You could have used them as oars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, is there anything a pickleball paddle can't do? So we go out. No one knows what's going on.
There's people running around. Everyone's panicking.
So everybody in their wisdom sensibly goes to, if you've never been on a cruise, when you go on board, you have to go to a muster station, which is basically in the event of an emergency. That's where you go and they give you a life jacket.
Yeah.
Now I have to say, it was pretty unnerving.
It was.
My kids were very nervous, and I had to pretend to be the strong one.
Well, I didn't. I broke down.
Yeah, you had a nervous breakdown, didn't you? I wish I was there with you.
Yeah, I was white as a sheet. I couldn't speak. My mouth was dry. I saw the staff running around in life jackets, and I thought, this is the end. This is it.
Well, I had to be strong for my kids, but inside I'm thinking, could we really be going over,
Yeah, could it be over?
I was thinking Titanic.
Yeah.
So we get down there, and believe me, the Americans panicked.
There was a woman crying in front of me on the phone saying, "We're at the muster station."
It made me realise that if this was a real situation, it would be every man for himself.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, when we got to our muster station,
you know what? I've just thought I might buy myself a life jacket and put it in my case. You must be able to get a blow-up life jacket.
Well, we've said this before, but your wife won't let you take enough clothes, let alone a life jacket.
Yeah. It was scary.
So it turned out it was a false alarm and it was a malfunction. And because of the malfunction, the PA didn't work. And
so no one could tell anyone what was going on. But I didn't sleep.
But my whole pickleball life flashed before me.
It was a frightening
and it wasn't
experience.
Pretty, let me tell you.
It was frightening.
So yeah, that was a bit. I mean, it's never happened to us, and don't let that put you off a cruise. It's very, very rare.
And it won't put me off going on another one. So
we love cruising.
I've since found out that apparently it takes about 24 hours for a ship to sink.
Yeah, and I felt a lot better.
I felt a lot better when I heard that.
Which I wish I'd have known that at the time.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm glad my paddles were safe.
Yeah.
Did you take one paddle on the ship?
I took two away with me.
So how did you decide which ones to take?
Well, I've sort of used...
You've got your number one go-to.
Yeah, I've got my Selkirk Power Air, that's what I use now. And I thought I'll take the Lux as well, just to give it a bit of balance.
Right.
But I actually never used the Lux. I've just been using my Power Air. I love that paddle now. And that's my go-to paddle.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually found a paddle that now I don't think I'm going to use anything else.
Yeah, but you do.
No, I'll test paddles and I'll try paddles, but that is my go-to paddle.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, something else that I wanted to mention that I just realised is not in your notes. When we were playing in America, this guy who we were playing against, he actually owns a paint paint shop and a decorating shop.
Of course, how did I forget that?
Yeah, and he says we finished a point, and in the middle he calls us over and he gets his paddle out and he gets this cloth out.
I'd seen this before you arrived.
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
So he gets this cloth out and he wraps it round the handle of his paddle. Then he grips the cloth on the paddle and then he unravels it. And it makes the handle of the paddle like tacky, almost. It sticks to your hand.
It's called a tack cloth. It's used. I don't know how.
It's
because
amazing.
I'm not into DIY, but it's used.
You must sell them here
in decorating.
I've got to.
So this guy actually owns a decorating shop,
and he gave me one to bring home.
So he must have come up with this idea, and I saw more than one person using it.
Did you?
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone out there has used what they call a tack cloth, but they only cost about.
They're not expensive.
I think I bought one out there. It was like $2 or $3.
I'm going to keep one in my bag all the time because it really does help with, especially when you're sweating in a tournament.
So basically, you just explain that again. You wrap it around.
So you wrap it around your handle, then you grip the handle like you.
Because there's a lot of sweat out there.
Yeah.
But what they don't realise is, although we're not in a hot climate, when we're playing inside, it can get really hot and sweaty.
Yeah. So you grip the handle once you've wrapped it round. It almost sort of just presses onto the handle. Then you unwrap it. And that's it. And then your
hand is tacky.
Your hand is tacky and the thing's tacky.
Yeah.
And it's literally like, doesn't move in your hand.
No.
It's brilliant.
We've never heard of this before.
No, it's brilliant.
And however, I went and bought one. And then we had a session at Patch Reef Tennis Centre.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. I forgot I had it. And I think it was me and you played and we split some games.
Yeah.
And I was doing okay.
Is that when I pickled you?
And then I did this thing and I instantly, I didn't like it.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it.
I did not like it. I felt like I couldn't, sometimes you have to adjust your grip slightly and I could not do it.
Right. I really liked it.
At which point, I don't know if it got in my head.
You swapped your paddle?
No, my game
went to pieces.
And it was the old Andy, and I just fell apart. I got pickled.
Yeah, by me. Just want to say by me.
Yeah, I deserved it. It was awful, and
but I really liked it. I thought it was really good, so I'm going to actually use it.
I've still got it. I might give it another go.
And I put it in my bag.
I think I used it wrong. It was on both my hands for some reason. I think it was on my shirt.
I'm glad I remembered that. I just wanted to.
But yeah, have a look and.
Tack cloth.
So it's called a tack cloth, and I'm sure they sell them in the UK as well.
Yeah.
But having said that, just to wrap up the whole playing in America subject, obviously we learned the hugest thing we learned to bring back was patience.
Yeah.
But I also learned one major thing, which was targeting. My shots have always been trying to get good shots back. Just trying to get the ball over. But now I realize I have got to target the opponent's weakness.
Correct.
Whether it's the backhand, and I never did that. And in that game that I got pickled and that 45 minutes, I was dreadful. I was playing our friend, and by the way, thanks Ross, who's a listener to the show,
Ross,
for setting up all our
you're a legend,
because
Ross.
Nobody wants to get up at that time in the morning, especially when you've got young kids. So thanks for that. What was I saying?
You were saying when you went to pieces and
right. He is a long time, all his life, a tennis player and has an amazing forehand. And my partner was saying to me, "Don't hit it to his forehand." And all I did was hit it to his forehand, and he demolished me. I went to pieces.
Yeah,
and that is the biggest thing. Apart from patience,
well, it's great that you've come back
to take away. So yes, it was like the old Andy, but I fell apart during the game. But afterwards, I actually took the positive of now I know, and this is what our trip to America. And like anybody who plays a 5.0 or near 5.0, you can take away so much. You can't go, and if you get battered, it's not the end of the world. You need to take out of that. What it takes to get better. And I do feel that for all the ups and downs, mainly ups, we've come away. The downs are really when we got home. But we've taken away a lot that we can work on. However, the return to the UK has been with a thumb.
Well, before you go on to the return to the UK, I just want to mention one more thing about America, because I want to give another shout out to somebody called Stuart, because
good shout.
Stuart, he owns a shop called Stuart's, believe it or not, and that is in Boca Raton, and it's a tennis shop, but he also does all pickleball stuff.
Well, it was solely a tennis shop until pickleball
and it's a big part of his business now. So I went into Stuart's, and what a lovely guy. He's actually got another guy working there who's from England as well, but he's got all the top paddles there. And I said, can I try one of the paddles? He said, yeah, go outside. He had one of those boards, like a rebound board.
Yeah.
And he said, go and try it. So I did.
I mean, you love your rebound board, don't
you? Yeah. That's another story. And then I went back in and he said, which ones do you like? And I said, well, I really like this one and this one. He said, well, take them away. I said, what do you mean? He said, take them. Go and try them. Come back in about 3 days.
He doesn't even know you.
No, come back in 3 days. Now, I found out that he does like a loan service. So he charges a minimum fee, like $5, $10. I don't know what it is. And you can hire the paddles. Go and try them before you buy them. He didn't charge me anything because he knew that I was from the UK.
Oh, the English accent goes so far.
Yeah, and obviously we've got the podcast and he's an avid listener. So it was brilliant. So I just want to give him a shout out and say thank you, Stuart. I never bought a paddle off you, but it's the first time I've never bought a paddle.
Yeah. But you went there 2 years previous when I brought you to
I did buy one off him.
And you bought that Selkirk bag, didn't you?
I did.
How has the shop changed? Because as it happens,
it looks exactly the same.
Right.
But he's got a full range of paddles.
So
and paddles that are hard to get, like the gearbox stuff.
Right.
He's got everything. He's got
through a complete twist of fate, I never made it there.
No, you didn't.
We were on our way there because there was a deli we were going to have lunch.
Yeah.
That you called me and I was 5 minutes away. And it was closed down for cockroaches.
Yeah, you're taking me to a deli that's closed down for cockroaches.
I mean,
nice.
I've been going to this place for years, and I was looking forward to going to see Stuart.
Yeah, it's a shame you didn't.
And I never made it there because we ended up diverting and never had the chance to go back.
He's a great guy, and he'll talk for hours. But he's very knowledgeable as well.
If you're ever in the South Florida area, and just for a little bit of context, Fort Lauderdale is 25 minutes away. Miami's an hour away from Boca Raton. So if you're in that area, Delray Beach or wherever, get over to Stuart's. Definitely. Because he'll give you a complete service.
And he's really cheap as well for paddles. Like his paddles are cheaper than anyone else I've seen. So he's really good value.
Yeah, but you don't buy cheap. You buy expensive and sell cheap.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. So let's go back to our return to the UK then, because
it was like a big smack in the face. I mean,
it was like a balloon popping, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the come down was tough.
Well, first of all, I thought my fitness was well off. I was really struggling the first time I played when I got back. Yeah,
but isn't it weird that if you look back at our playing in that heat and playing for an hour and a half constant, we managed. We had some great rallies. I don't remember feeling gassed at any point.
No, it was
so
okay.
Why do I feel when I come back and I played my first session on Tuesday, why am I feeling completely gassed? Is it jet lag? Am I underestimating jet lag?
No, I think it's because
is it a different
don't forget, like you didn't once we played for that first week, you never played them for a good 2 weeks.
No, that's true.
So
that's true.
By the time you started playing again, you've eaten a lot over those 2 weeks and you've come back and it's like a footballer, they never they've got to get match fit again. Yeah. So you need to get match fit. I still do. I still feel like I'm not match fit. So I need to get.
I feel chesty. I feel like my asthma's playing up. I'm falling apart.
You're always chesty. Chesty Morgan, do you remember?
No.
So the courts were obviously, we've talked about that being different. Getting back to the multi-line courts and the wooden surfaces, it is a come down. I mean, it's great that we have decent courts at like the Open and stuff like that, and even the Nationals where we play on tennis courts. That's.
But also, we're playing outside there. We'll come back to playing inside. It's a different ball. The second I hit the first ball,
you can feel the difference.
It was like hitting a lead weight back. Yeah. It was difficult, but also when we were out there, the first thing we were constantly saying we're going to drill when we get back. So what do? We get back. We lost our Thursday night.
We lost our drilling.
Now we can't find another night. Now we're back to once a night, and it really is depressing.
And it's going to get harder as the winter sets in to find courts because everyone's come back indoors.
So we go there, we get inspired to drill more, we come back, we can't find the time or the courts to do it. So we're stuck. I feel completely frustrated. We played, was it last night? Last night was our first session together, our first proper session.
No, it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So
it was fine, but you've changed your view on rec play, haven't you?
I have. Now I'm completely relaxed now. Now I didn't play well. Obviously, it was for all the reasons I've said. It was difficult coming back. It was an adjustment.
You're probably still jet lagged a bit.
There was plenty of good in my game, but I've decided now. I've got a totally different outlook. Having read Pickleball Mindset, there was a chapter in that about that mentioned about rec play, and we talked to Jill about that. It's changed my total outlook. We played together. I gave us a couple of tough games.
Yeah,
we lost them. We weren't in it score wise, but I don't care anymore. Our opponents, we've said it before, our opponents were loving it. That was their cup final against us. I decided, and I said this to you before, do whatever shots you want to do. It does not matter. The score does not matter anymore in rec play.
Well, rec play is meant to be for you to practice your
I am
shots.
going there to practice my patience.
I find that I can't practice my shots because of the game that's
played. I was going there. I saw a few different serves I faced in America that I struggled with. So I came back and I wanted to try a different serve. So I was trying, and a lot of serves went into the net. There was times where I wanted to try certain shots. I wanted to try and go to a particular person. I wanted to keep going to the backhand, and sometimes I hit it out wide. And I have got to practice that. I tried a few drop shots. I need to get better at my drop shots. I think we lost 11-4 and you were really disappointed. And I'm going away thinking that
I had fallen down the stairs the same day.
That's true. That's true.
You never mentioned that.
Yeah.
I slipped, by the way, and I fell down 4 stairs and smashed my back and my neck. So I wasn't up to full capacity. And then
the good side,
I was getting lobbed. Yeah, with a bad neck and a bad back. But anyway.
But you have to move away from worrying about the scores. You know, afterwards, people come up to us and sort of joke about beating us. I don't care. If they want to do that, that's up to them. Our goal is to get better in tournaments. And I am going to be practicing, and I don't care if I lose every single rec game. If there's certain parts in there that I am happy with that are improving, like my patience and certain other things. And I came away saying there was a lot of good in that. The scores were not good, but that does not matter anymore.
Okay.
Yes, if we're getting to near a tournament and we are wanting to arrange competitive games, that's a different matter. But now is our time to use rec play as a tool to get better. There's certain shots and certain tactics we now need to incorporate. And if we're only playing once a week, when else are we going to do it?
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree.
If we go on there and we lose 11-1, we've got to look at the shots we're playing.
It's hard
and not the score.
It's hard to, as I say, it's hard to practice these shots because, you know, the game is just very bangy, and
it is.
Sometimes
and
it's hard to do these shots that you want to practice.
There was one game and you were doing some great returns, and I don't know were they great? I don't know. To me, they were great returns, and yet they were just smashed back at me, and they would win the point. But then I've got to get better at defending those.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. And we should practice the shots, especially if we don't have the time.
Listen, if we're playing 3 or 4 times a week, then it's different. Rec play is a different entity then.
Yeah.
But we're not. We've only got one chance a week at the moment to practice our shots. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. So we're just going to do a paddle review because we've had paddles given to us by Diadem.
So we've got loads of paddles.
It's the 18K. What is it called? The Warrior Edge.
Right. So originally we had the 18K Warrior Edge. That was about a year ago. Now there's different variations now. They brought out the Speed Pro, which you had and sold it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't.
Somebody else is now using that at the club. I used it. I found it quite hard. I think it is more geared to tennis players.
Yeah.
So then there's these variations. So this is they had the Speed Pro, then they brought out the Power, which is this one, the Power model.
Yeah.
And now they've got a Power Pro. So I took away from Diadem a Power model and a Power Pro. Now I've not used the Power Pro, but this has been my second go-to paddle.
Okay.
Since I've been in America, since we've been to Diadem, I started out using the Yola, Colin John's paddle, which they were good enough to give me to test.
Yeah.
Now I love that. I ended up using that in the Open.
Right.
And I liked it instantly. So we'll review that next time.
Okay.
But this,
what are your thoughts on this one?
This I keep going back to, because obviously I want to review it. So I've used it quite a lot, probably 50-50 with the Yola. Now I actually like it. I would go from the Yola to this, and immediately there was a couple of times I turned to you and I said, I am getting better power on this.
Okay. So what are the main things that you like about it?
It's different, and I always say you need to have two different paddles in your bag. So, first of all, look at it. It looks
stunning because it's got the American.
Yeah, this was the 4th of July edition, but they do it in a lot of other colours.
Yeah.
It has a couple of times also. I said to you, what great spin this has got.
Okay.
So
you like the spin on it?
I find for a paddle that's different to what I would normally use, it's very similar.
Okay.
So I felt like I actually did get more power. It is a power model, but I'm not a power player.
Okay.
So it's elongated, but it's not, I don't find the head small.
Well, just to give you the specs, it's 16.4 by 7.5 inches, 16 millimeters thick, and roughly 8 ounces.
Yes, I actually
feels heavier, I thought, than 8 ounces. To me, it feels heavier.
Yeah.
But the surface on it is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it really is.
Beautiful.
I mean, I loved the original 18K.
Yeah.
I only stopped using it because so many other paddles came my way.
Yeah.
So if you like the Diadems, you like the 18K, you will like this. This is a really good paddle. I don't think it's have to be
resets and control, dinking.
Resets and control were great. I found that I got everything from the Yola I got in this.
Okay.
Yes, there were certain instances where maybe the Yola was a bit more forgiving.
Okay. But we'll discuss the Yola another time.
Yeah, but I'm really happy with this as a paddle, and I will continue to use this.
Okay, that's
after reviewing it. So from a spin point of view, if you like spin, it's great.
Okay, let's give it the numbers. So spin out of 10.
I definitely give it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah,
that high?
Yeah. For me, it got great.
Okay.
Spin.
Control.
Control. I'd
7?
probably give it a 7. Yes.
Power.
Yeah. Power. I'd give it a 9.
Wow.
Because
so it's good ratings.
For me, who doesn't generate power.
Yeah.
I found that I was really getting a lot more on my returns and my finishes. They were out wide, but I'm still getting power in them. So I really like this paddle.
And it's made from 3D 18K carbon fiber.
Yes,
as well.
It's got that unique look to it.
It's got like a weave in it, hasn't it? It's really nice.
So you can get the full specs online. I'm not going to bore you with all the specs, but as a feel, I've got to give it to you.
What about price wise?
Felt like.
How looking on the website, they're $240.
Yeah, but the Diadem regularly have sales 30% off. So
I think you can get them cheaper in the UK actually.
Yeah.
From certain
you can
people.
shop around for them. Don't be guided by price on this. It is I mean, we've used a lot of Diadems and we like all of their paddles. And we will be reviewing the Power Pro, which I've not
and
used
also
yet.
the Hush, which is a definite one. The new quiet paddle from Diadem. We need to review.
I also used the Franklin. I mean, I give this paddle an 8 out of 10 for me.
An all-round 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
wow,
it's different for everybody.
Okay,
but if you like Diadem, it's an elongated. If you like elongated, I'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
If you're 4.0 and above,
then go and have a look at it.
So we've got those other Diadems
to review.
We've got the Hush. We've also got the Owl that we'll be reviewing. We've also got some tech coming up.
Yeah.
Which we'll tell you about soon.
Yeah. We've got some great interviews coming up as well.
Yeah, we have. We've got so much coming up, and this is episode 80. And before you know it,
we'll be at the 100.
We're going to be at 100, and that is going to
Pickleball
be
party.
a bonanza.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably do a really good giveaway for that.
Yeah, we will.
So I think, thanks for bearing with us through.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and follow us on all the socials. We're going to have this on YouTube. So
I know we've been saying it for a while.
This is going to go on YouTube. Also, the tour that we did at the Diadem Centre will be up on YouTube this week. So go and have a look at all those. Please follow us, subscribe.
Yeah, rate, review us.
Everything but the Kitchen Dink on all your platforms. EBTKD.podcast. I always stumble.
That's what happens when you have a break.
You're right. And thanks for listening.
Have a great week.